Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we take a look at the best core drivers of 2024. Remember, if you like our videos, please hit that subscribe button and tell all your golfing friends. So guys, thanks for coming back to the channel. We know that we've been a little bit vacant on the channel over the last 2 or 3 months building new golf shops. But that's no excuse for the content not coming out. So we're back. It's cold. It's November, we've got through another golf season, and today we're going to start our best of reviews. Now, every year we're going to do this and we come up with some different products. Some different product gets released in January and throughout the season, and this is a great time to look back after all the product that I've tested, whether that be driver, irons, wedges or putters, and look back and look at what has performed the best. Now, I'm going to do this from a little bit of a different angle. So I'm going to look at it as to what sold best through the shops. So with five golf stores, we have a little bit of data there that helps us tell us which driver has been the most popular. I'm going to do it through the numbers and what we've seen perform in the fitting bay, but I'm also going to do it through my own subjective view, what I've seen when I've tested product, which one's the best. Now, today we're going to take a look at core drivers. Well, what does that mean when we use the term core drivers? Well, most brands now will bring out 2 or 3 different heads every season. So if you take TaylorMade this year, for example, they had the standard head, the QI10, they had the max head, and they had the LS. So there's 3 heads. We're going to look at the driver that sits in the brands in the middle. So we're not looking at the big max heads, and we're not looking at the low spinning heads, we're not looking at the ultra forgiving, we're looking at their standard driver heads. Now, for us, there's been some fantastic product that has come out on the market. There always is, and it's always difficult when you're doing these reviews because, quite frankly, you can pick from one from 100 different drivers that perform very, very well. And we know, don't we, that each driver has its own benefit to different types of golfer, whether that be the look, whether that be the feel, whether that be the distance, whether that be the sound, whether it be the launch, whatever it may be. All the brands have done exceptionally well, as they always do. Now, for me, there are 3 drivers that have stood out in the past 12 months that not only have performed really well in the bay, I've enjoyed actually hitting these drivers, and a couple of them are a bit of a surprise to me. But also we've seen them sell through the shops really, really well. And that's a kind of a good indication that if we are fitting, so if we're in a fitting session and we're seeing a driver perform well, the guys are only going to buy that driver if the performance of the product is excellent. So here we go. We're going to start with my number 3 product. So my number 3 product this year is the TaylorMade QI. TaylorMade have brought out a fantastic driver, sold really, really well. It's our 3rd best selling driver in the store. It's an absolute beast of a product. Just a really solid driver. What they've done very well with this is the look of it, I think for me, was really good. I really enjoyed the fact they moved away from the red face of Stealth and Stealth 2. I really struggled with that. So going into this blue carbon was much better on my personal eye. Performance wise was pretty good. I felt it was a bit more solid off the face, even with the carbon face, rather than the previous generations and the Stealth models. So overall, it's a really good performing product. Good shaft options in it as well, which always helps from a fitting perspective, and obviously the adjustability on the sleeve allowed us to play with really dialing in those numbers for any customer that came in. So QI10 for me is my number 3 product. Weirdly, this is the product that I actually got fitted for as well. So I'm actually playing this driver, but for me it was number 3. Number 2, now a little bit of a late release, and I'm going to go with the Titleist GT2. Now, Titleist won't like me saying this, but every time Titleist bring out a driver, you kind of know what you're going to get. They're not going to bring out an orange driver or a pink face. They're not going to do that. That's not what Titleist are about. They're about performance. And what's always been interesting, I've played Titleist drivers in the past, and I've always played the 3 head, if you like, in the models. Now, what I found particularly successful in this product is that the GT2 was unbelievable in performance. Now, we've figured out this year so far that we have, that I need to launch the ball a little bit higher, that I need to get a little bit more loft, and GT2 really helped in that regard as well. The GT3, when I've hit it, I couldn't get in the air. So as much as I would love to play that head, I think what they've done with GT2 with that slicker finish, that different type of crown on it, means that this driver, performance-wise, has been quite brutal this year. And it's moved, if we have to be a little bit fair, so I've done a little bit of maths on this. GT2 was released a little bit later in the season. So since it's been released, it's outselling QI, which is really impressive for a mid-season launch of a driver. But our number one, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anyone, is the G430. Now, it's a bit difficult to call this the driver of the year because it's been out for 2. So it's a second year product, second year life cycle. But this particular driver, I think, has been incredibly difficult to beat. I went to Ping this year, saw the guys at Gainsborough, they fitted me into this product. Bit more loft, okay, not the same shaft, but a bit more loft. And to be honest with you, I've always struggled. You'll look back at some of the videos that I've done on this driver and you can see what I've called this funny top bit, and I don't like the fact that it's a little bit too much going on the top. I didn't like that. The problem with it is, as much as it may not be traditional in looking and it may not be perfect to the eye, what this driver has done has been performed. For someone like me who has really struggled with driver in the past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and when I say struggled, it's not distance, I don't struggle with how far I hit it, I really struggle with keeping the ball on the planet. And if you've played with me in the last 2 or 3 years, you will attest to that 100%. We tend to spend a lot of time looking on the left and the right side of the fairway looking for golf balls. But this thing on my off-centre hits was absolutely and utterly superb. So it is time for us to hit these drivers one last time this year and test the data. So we're jumping into the new fitting bay here at the Biggleswade store. It's cold, but the blue skies are out, and we're going to jump in straight in with the QI10. So this was my 3rd place. Now, it has been a very, very popular driver this year. It has been good. This model, not so much as the Max Head. The Max Head, which is a bit more forgiving for people. The LS has been an absolute tank of a driver. It's such a low spinning head that very few people can benefit from that type of product. However, this one has been okay. It's been pretty good. So let's hit some balls with it. As I said, it feels more solid than that Stealth 2 did. And Stealth, I think 2nd generation, when they bring a technology out like carbon wood on the face, I think what's really interesting is how quickly these guys can bring out a new product and then really develop it within 2 or 3 generations. Like I say, I played this product this year, I put it in the bag, it's played quite nicely for me. The reason I selected it, because I think one of the comments you guys would probably say to me is, well, why did, you're rating Ping as number 1, why did you put QI10 in the bag? And the number 1 reason was, and it is purely one thing, which was look. I really struggled, as much as I love the Ping, and I think it's the best performing driver of this year. From a looks perspective, I really struggled when I put the Ping behind the ball on the golf course. So, I've had to just make sure that was just, you know, it has to sit my eye. I'm that player, I'm old school, I'm afraid. If it sits nice, looks nice, then I've got a chance. Okay, one more. So some pretty good strikes there, some pretty good numbers. Again, I've enjoyed hitting this driver this year. 160 ball speed, 2.5 spin, 270 on the fly with 293. I'd say that's pretty good numbers for a standard core driver. It's not got my perfect shaft in it, but it's a really solid driver, and it's done a brilliant job this year so far. So that was QI. We're now into GT2. So this product was released around July, end of July, came out middle of August, and has been an absolute success. But it is what you expect from a Titleist driver, right? It's clean, it's slick. I really like the way that actually they've reimagined the bottom of the club, the sole of the club, so the rack appeal's been really good. Performs really good. They haven't messed around with any cog settings or sleeves. It's the same shore fit system that they've always used. But what they have done is made GT2 more playable for a wider market, in my opinion. So you would typically see GT2 as the product that was kind of the mass market product. It would go into most people. And GT3 you would see in either better players' hands or players that struggle with spin. GT2, however, for me, just is such a beast of a performance that you'll see a wider range, and you're even seeing it out on tour, moving into this head, because what you're getting is complete control and ball speeds, and a really nice looking. They've reimagined the shape. It looks neat and tidy. It doesn't look as clumpy as some of the previous 2 generation models, and it performs brilliantly. So let's enjoy hitting this one. Just beautiful. What I've enjoyed with this particular one, and this is a personal thing, is the flight was so much higher. So from my perspective, I've always struggled with that low flight. We saw that earlier in the year when I was testing drivers, those snipes as I would call them. But that flight with GT2, I mean, it just feels fantastic off the face. It's hard for me because I am a traditionalist when it comes to equipment. I do like a simple head. I do like a simple look. The way this sits is really neat and tidy. But like I say, it's opened its doors to a much wider base of customer and player than previous generations, in my opinion. And that was ripped. It's just so good. It's so good. And it's long, right? So that's 160 ball speed, 270 on the fly, 295 total. Let's hit a couple more. Just arrow, isn't it? I mean, Chris is standing behind the camera. What you can't see right now is Chris is standing behind the camera, and it's taken me a full 10.5 months, nearly 11 months, to hit 10 balls in a row that looked like you could find them after you've hit them. I mean, that was 162, 283 carry. I mean, that was seriously hot, wasn't it? Okay, one more. Even that one, Chris. That's 5 in a row. I've absolutely striped. I mean, we're all standing there a little bit amazed, but you can see the level of performance in this driver is absolutely bob on. 160, 276 carry, 302. Cold November morning. I would take that every single day. But on to my number 1 of 2024. So straight into my winner of 2024. It's a second year product. They are bringing out a new driver in early January next year in 2025. But this product has performed brilliantly, and I think one of the reasons it hasn't really been in my top 1 or 2 previously is because I really haven't given it enough credit. But mainly because of the look, mainly possibly because of a little bit of golf snobbery as well. I've never played a ping driver, so I've always found it difficult to put one down. But you know, going that visit I had with Gainsborough earlier in the year, that fitting I had with the guys up at Ping was absolutely top notch, and I think that opened my eye to some of the different product that actually is available. So let's have a smacker with this. I mean, that's the one thing, of 2 things that really put me off this driver personally. Again, subjective. Number 1, the look. I couldn't get over the spikes on the top, the dinosaurs on the top. I couldn't really get over that, and I couldn't really get over the sound, and that's just because of preference and my own bias. And I think what's really important when we do these videos is that I tell you these things, because it is a fantastic product. It is the best performing and the best selling driver for us this year. However, having said all of that, it wouldn't be the one that I have put in the bag. But it just goes. So in terms of ball flight, if you can just drown out the sound of it, it's a beautiful flight. Like the flight on this thing, 262, 286, a little bit shorter than Titleist, but consistency is off the chain. A little bit drawy, aimed it down that left side a little bit there. Before anyone mentions that that's not more consistent, it was me that one. Just aiming down that left side, just try and aim a little bit more. Just the same place every single time. Just so consistent, this product, it's absolutely ridiculous. The grouping on these drivers is insane, and I think that's why I put it there, because yes, it's got power, yes, it's got a lot of distance, but I tell you what, I'd sacrifice 10 yards every single day for a driver. If you've got power and you've got speed, and you're not worried about 5, 10 extra yards, but you want to find it every time, this driver has been absolutely brilliant this year. The grouping on that is pretty tight, I would say. Let's have a little look at the TrackMan. It's come up quite tight. They've all been very good. Yeah, another little tight spot. So there we go, guys. My #1 driver for 2024 is the Ping G430 Max in the core range. It's been a really, really good product. It's outsold everyone else. So remember, we're just looking at this very niche model. What would be great right now is you guys jump into the comments and tell me what driver you picked this year, and if you've picked one of the 3 that I've already gone and pulled out, how are you using it? How are you performing with it? Is it working well? You can comment on our YouTube channel, you can comment on our socials. We would love to hear from you. We love engaging with golfers about what they've played and get some feedback around the world about what golfers have chosen and what golfers are playing this year. Remember, if you like our videos, please hit that subscribe button and tell all your golfing friends.